So if your children and their eating has been a little off the rails since home quarantining, you're not alone.
Yeah, we're not judging here. I mean,
No.
It's been tough, hasn't it, Amy?
Yeah.
With routines going out the window, emotional eating of all that comfort food. A recent report even confirmed it. We are buying more junk food to cope with social distancing. For those wanting to get back on track, I enlisted a registered dietitian and started with this question. Is it okay to start locking up the snack food if you can't trust your child, or is that going down the road of not being able to teach them self-control and things like that? What are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think, again, this goes back to that division of responsibility for feeding and eating. We don't recommend locking up the pantry. There may be some extenuating circumstances, and I would suggest if you feel like you're in that circumstance, perhaps reaching out to your child's pediatrician to talk more about this. But in general, locking up cabinets is not something we would want to do. I think that when we as parents are providing the meals and snacks for our kids, we want to do a variety of foods, right? So we always suggest not labeling like good and bad food or junk food and healthy food. We know that some foods have a higher nutrition content. So as a parent, we would be providing some foods that have high nutrition content and some that are more highly palatable foods, but treating these foods equally. That is teaching a child that it's okay sometimes to have these, quote, junk foods. And really what research shows is that girls deprived of like highly palatable snack foods end up having an EAH that's higher, which the EAH actually stands for eating when you're not hungry. Research also shows that parents who restrict high fat and high sugar snacks, those kids tend to have higher BMIs. So the more we restrict and the more we label foods, the more likely our child is actually going to be to sneak the food and to hide food.
Is it okay to put your child on a diet? Are you against just the word, or I guess it all has to do with your approach to eating healthier? If you feel like you've gone down the wrong path with your children and they're not little anymore and you want to get them on the right track with eating healthy, what's the difference between a diet and just starting to eat healthier?
Right, that's a great question. So in general, yeah, we don't call it a diet. I mean, and research really is saying that for kids in general, you don't put a kid on a diet. You slow weight gain so that a child can catch up, if that makes sense. So if my child's tracking in the 95th percentile, but they used to be in the 75th percentile, 95th percentile then would be higher than where they have generally tracked, which would show some weight gain that doesn't fit with their growth chart, right? But instead of putting them on a diet to get them back to the 75th, my goal would be to even out their weight gain so that then they kind of can catch up, if that makes sense. I think that the difference between diet versus just trying to eat healthier is what you're focusing on. So diet tends to be, like when I hear diet, I think restriction. I think counting calories. I think good food, bad food. When I think about lifestyle, I think about, choosing foods that are fresh foods, like more fruits and vegetables, and building in lean proteins and whole grains. It's not limiting things as much as it is making sure that we're building in more of those foods that we know have like a health benefit.
And Courtney provided even more helpful information, like during those scheduled meals while everybody's sitting down, allowing your children to eat as much as they want in those meals so that outside of those meals they're not snacking as much. She even provided some recipes for us. I'm going to go ahead and post all of that on the online story of this at WSBA.com.
That's really great information. And you know what, Jackie Brown, I think you'll agree with us. This is an issue for adults too. Like, we've all been wanting to snack a little more, I think. It's been like we're all kind of challenged to manage this. And there were good tips there for everybody.
We have. I told you that one night I ate like 5 packs of ramen noodles and 2 pizzas, so whatever. Yeah, it's been a rough time. Add the severe weather to that, to our stress on top of everything that's going on, you know.
Yeah.
So
no kidding.
5 packs of ramen, though, that would require a very large pot.
Separate bowls. Separate bowls.
Okay.
One at a time. One at a
I
time.
like how you're thinking, Ben. All right.
Not in one big mixing bowl, huh?
Yeah, one at a time.